What's going on? What's going on, guys? This is your man, Real Deal Steele. Let me readjust the screen so I can get my esteemed guests on here as well. There we go. There we go. Great to see you guys. My apologies for the delay. Guess what happened? So I stream, just for context, I stream nearly every night. This has only happened one other time, and unfortunately happens when I have the great Ross Nicoll on here. I took a nap and I set my phone alarm, but the problem is my phone was on silent, so rendering that alarm rather useless. Anyway, my apologies, but we are good to go now. We are good to go now, and we are going to have an awesome show. So strap in, get yourself your cocktail or your tea or your juice or whatever your pleasure is, and let's get down to it, poppers. Welcome to Steven Steele Live. I am Steven Steele. Great to see you guys. Got a lot of familiar names in the chat, some new ones as well. If you're new here, I'd like to personally welcome you, invite you to subscribe, hit that notification bell. We've got an awesome community here, and I want you to be a part of it. If you could smash that like button, it's the number one thing you can do to help this channel ascend through those tricky YouTube algorithms and reach more people. So if you could just take a split second to do that, that's much appreciated. Obviously, super chats are also appreciated for all the time and efforts put in. Feel free to ask my guests or myself whatever you'd like in that format. And yeah, we've got a great show lined up for you guys tonight. Also, if you wouldn't mind, if you follow me on Twitter, if you want to RT out the stream just to let the fellow community members know that we are doing it to it, that we are live now at last. Again, so sorry for that, guys. I feel awful. So thank you for hanging in there. Thank you guys for your patience. It's much appreciated. Again, if you have Twitter, if you wouldn't mind retweeting the stream, the link to that I'm popping in the chat right now, guys. There we go. It's right there. So without any further ado, I would like to welcome the man of the hour, Mr. Ross Nicoll. Ross, how you feeling, man?
I'm good. It's a little late here, so I'm a little sleepy, that's why. But yeah, doing well. Glad it's Friday. Looking forward to the weekend. It's going to be good.
Yeah.
How are you doing?
I'm awake now. I just putting a little pep in my step here, and I know that you're across the pond, running about 6 hours ahead. Hopefully, my energy will keep you awake enough throughout the duration of this program. And then, of course, we've got a man that needs no introduction in these parts. My co-host up right here. Dogecoin millionaire Nick Balls. Yes, I love the Hollywood Squares format. So yeah, thank you for making it. Super chat from Donna Tabuki, $20. Thank you for that, much appreciated. Hello back to you, Donna, and you and your family. Always appreciate you. Thank you for supporting the channel. I know I see the chat. Steve, are you all right, bro? What's going on? Hump Deezy asked, Ross, what you sipping?
So this, I've answered in text as well. So this is Bird and Blend, which is a UK tea company, and they do a toffee chai. So it's rooibos based. I'm not asking too many questions what's actually in it, but it tastes good.
Very good.
Which is the secret to many things, is don't ask what's in it if it tastes good.
Very good. Now, are you also a fan of the stereotypically English Yorkshire tea?
See, I'm going to get myself kicked out of the country for saying this, but not really.
Are you a fan of Twinings?
I like some of the things they do, but
Yeah.
plain black tea, not my scene.
Okay.
As I said, so I need a new
drinking
country.
The breakfast version of Twinings right now.
But yeah, I need a new country because they're going to kick me out. It's going to be awkward. Yeah.
What kind of tea do you like, Ross?
I mean, all of these sort of dry things. Again, Bird and Blend do a whole. Sorry, I should probably admit here that I actually invest in the company, so I like them and I invest in them because I like them, but I do want to be open about that.
Yeah.
But they do a whole range. So they do one called Monkey Chops, which is a black tea with bits of freeze dried banana in it. Sounds weird, tastes great. They do a spicy chai. There's a few things.
Gotcha.
I also drink way more coffee than I should do.
Well, hopefully you're still caffeinated enough to give us a program here, Ross. Josh Randell disavows coming in with a $10 super chat. I want some Ross Nicoll merch. Maybe we could do. Maybe I could format a T-shirt with a big picture of Ross's face with this top hat on. What'd you say, Ross?
So, I mean,
do you have any merch?
I don't. I suddenly need some. I think that's a thing that everyone's going, yes, get merch. Why are you not doing this? So earlier today, the artist I work with was saying, hey, let's talk about NFTs. And I was a bit, is anyone to buy NFTs? And apparently, yes, people will buy things with me on, okay, I need to get on top of that. There's actually, particularly, I managed to do this all backwards because I try to do everything really carefully. So I thought, well, I can't just jump into NFTs, face first. I know it's meant to be face first. I'm going for face first intentionally. And I want to know what the legal implications are. So I called up some lawyers. I went, let's talk about this. And they said, of course, we give you a half-hour call for free. Sounds good. And we talked a bit, and they went, okay, well, we'd like to go research X, Y, Z. I went, sounds good. Yeah, you see where this goes, don't you? So they billed me last week, and I was like, I really should have had more of a product plan before I signed up for lawyer bills.
Oh my.
So what I managed to do so far in NFTs is make a negative amount by trying to understand the legal implications. Because the thing is, everyone goes, oh, I bought an NFT. It's kind of, what does that give you? And they go, an NFT. And it's kind of, what's the license on it? Do you own the artwork? Can I print something with the artwork on it? Can you print something with the artwork on it? If someone makes another copy of it, who do you sue? And they just kind of, again, it's I wanted it properly. But yeah, is that weird?
Not in context. Yeah, not in context. What do you say, Nick?
I think a lot of people should consider these kind of questions, before. I think 99.9% of people just jump into NFTs without doing any kind of background research or anything at all. So no, I don't think it's weird at all. I think you're being totally proactive.
Yeah, definitely. I would concur with that. Donna coming in. What can I say? Donna coming in large and in charge.
Yeah.
Bringing some big Doge energy. A $100 super chat. Purchase an alarm clock. We wouldn't want to miss you. You just bought me the fanciest alarm clock on the market, probably. Donna, thank you so much for the generous contribution to the channel. And honestly, literally, it's people like you that allow me to spend as much time on this stuff as I do, or else I wouldn't be able to do it as much as I do. So thank you. You people like you literally make it possible. Thank you so much. So appreciate that, Donna. Very, very, very kind of you. Marcus from Germany coming in, just wanted to say hello to the gang. Hello back, Marcus from Germany, my German friend. Appreciate you. Lots of folks in the chat tonight. Great to see you guys. So Ross, I do have actual questions for you. I mean, we could shoot the breeze all night here, and I easily, but I suppose we should get down to some questions here, and we'll just kind of flow it along. I also took a few select audience questions earlier over Twitter yesterday that I'm going to have in this mix too, but we'll get to those audience questions towards the end. But to start things off, Ross, what would you say 2 things that are new in your life since you were last on this program?
I think that you have to give me, I'd say, a month, 2 months.
Yeah, about almost 2 months. Almost 2 months, yes.
So it's weird because it's kind of, my life at the moment is basically decompressing from there being a pandemic. So new things in my life are I'm now going into the office more. It doesn't sound like exciting, but actually, like, I've been living in the same 4 walls metaphorically for 18 months. I've got out very little over that time. Getting into an office has actually been really positive for me, and it's been a massive improvement to my life. So that's a big thing.
Awesome.
So I'm going to stretch this one a little bit, but I did see the US border reopened on Monday, and I do want to get to the US, so that's super exciting for me. I'm trying to think what's going on, because this is the thing, is like things that most of my life at the moment is kind of, I got like 2 days on stream doing Dogecoin, other days often doing Dogecoin. I'm in the gym a lot. I'm trying to move house. And between all of that, it's just kind of, that's my week.
Yeah.
So there's less exciting things happening than you would think. 114.5 came out, the small thing, you may have heard of that somewhere.
Yeah, we'll be getting to that. Yes, we'll be getting to that. Absolutely. So it seems that there are various major factors. Nick and I have been talking about this more and more on the show recently. It seems that there are major factors and catalysts towards the advancement of Dogecoin shaping up to the first quarter of 2022. Ross, is this by design?
I think there is a plan coming, but I think everyone goes, oh, look, they must have this very carefully engineered plan, and I see these conspiracy theories, and they go, oh yes, you can imagine someone joining all the dots, and we're just kind of, yeah, I wish we were that organized. No, I mean, it's super exciting, and it's great to see that convergence. And I think that the counterpoint to is that, as I said, is that plan. It's not planned by the foundation in the sense that you're thinking. There are plans the foundation is doing, but they're still a little bit under wraps.
Okay.
But it is also at the same time very cool because everything is meant to be decentralized. So we look to the community to be doing things, and the fact that lots of other things are going on. It is great to see that is all coming together. Musty, I'm just seeing, says needs a personal helper. I do actually have a PA. Funny story. This is how I'm doing an intense day job, and I'm going to the gym, and I'm running a major cryptocurrency. The fact that I get time to sleep at all is because I have a PA and a cleaner and a support staff around me. But it turns out there are still a limited number of hours in a day, however efficiently you pack them in.
Yeah. I think you're definitely overdue for a PA at this juncture. All kidding aside, would that be something that you would consider?
Oh no, I do have one. I could.
I was gonna say. I don't know how you would do this otherwise.
It's always daft because I got a PA and then I didn't have a lot of opportunities for people I can just go, yeah, deal with my PA. Like typically, I want to be a bit more hands-on with planning.
Yeah.
But I really want to be able to say, oh, we should do something, make it work without my PA. Yeah. I actually need things like I'm booking tables for restaurants, and I'm going, why am I calling someone? I literally have someone for this.
Yeah.
So getting used to it is the other thing. Like I'm not used to delegating it. So I have a PA
provided from your job, or did you hire this person out?
No, this is actually a company called Get Friday, who are not sponsoring me, and I should get them to.
This moment's brought to you by Get Friday.
This stream is not brought to you by Get Friday, and I'm going to talk to them and say, could it be?
yeah, could it be? Wink, wink, nod. Okay, so Ross, could you share with us what the main objectives were when working on the latest Dogecoin update, and how you think those objectives turned out comparatively to to your expectations of those objectives?
So, I mean, obviously the headline is the reduced fees. And I think that went really well. I mean, we reduced the fees. There are some unexpected consequences to that, which I imagine we'll get to in about 3 questions' time. But we did what we set out to do. We described what we were going to do, and we achieved it. That went well. We also did a whole bunch of other things. Like, I think, there's a lot of... Dogecoin has been not updating the libraries it uses for a long time. So we've been refreshing a lot of those, and this is a lot of Patrick's work for 1.14.5 was refreshing a whole bunch of the basic dependencies, updating the operating systems it builds on, all sorts of things. And that fixes... And we fixed minor security issues that, like, they're not a big deal, but still, it's good to... When people point these out, we go, okay, we'll fix that. There'll be performance improvements. Mm-hmm. So I think that went really well. I'm starting to see 1.14.6 bits come together. Mm-hmm. And I think 1.14.6 in many ways is all the stuff that didn't make it into 1.14.5. And there's bits in there, but I don't think there's anything that makes me go, oh, I really should have had that in. So I think 1.14.5, I've described it as our biggest update since 1.14.0, and I think it really is. Like, it's been a big, big leap ahead, and that's why we want to so much push everyone to it. Because, like, obviously, I've got 121 off on the horizon, but we don't know when that's going to ship. We really just need a lot more QA effort on that. So 1.14.5 is going to be the sort of baseline for a period of time at least.
Mm-hmm. Would it be safe to say, Ross, that this latest update, the predominant focus and improvements were both in security and the lowering of transaction fees?
And like there's some usability changes, like the fee slider was always fixed because the fees were fixed. And that was not a great user experience because, like, it wasn't obvious why there was a slider there because we hadn't taken it out. And if there's a slider there, what does it do? So we tweaked it a bit, and we ran through, I think, 3 different models before we went for the one that we went for. But like the big thing was like the fees are 1/100th of what they used to be. And that gives you... Actually, it's less than that because they used to be rounded, and there was a whole bunch of other complicated bits of rounding and all sorts of things going on. And we've taken all that out to make the fees much easier to use. So it's now like under 1/100th, so it's like 0.1 cent fees, which is crazy low. I've just been moving money around for the giggles now. Just get bored, let's move some money.
Gotcha. I got a super chat coming in from Dogerat, 7 Canadians. Thank you for that, Dogerat. Appreciate you. Dogerat asks, did Elon submit any PRs?
If he did not put it in his own name. That's all I'm saying. There is a full credits list on the README. Who knows?
Uh-huh. Okay. Got it. Roger that. Thank you, Dogerat. Thank you. This one is non Doge related. But it's just out of my own curiosity. What is one of your favorite Britpop bands from the 90s? For me, it's the Happy Mondays and the Charlatans UK.
This is a really awkward thing where I go, I don't really track eras or origins of bands, so I need to taste eclectic, and I can just go, I like random bands, but I'm just going, I think most of the ones I like are really American.
Ross getting on his way to getting the boot.
Yeah, I mean,
he doesn't like Yorkshire. He doesn't like Yorkshire tea. Doesn't like 90s Britpop. What's going on, Ross?
I mean, I've been talking about moving to the US anyway. Just telling me I need to just get on with that. Like,
I think so.
We welcome you.
Yeah, definitely. And that was actually another one of my questions, Ross. Is this something that you're seriously entertaining, migrating over to the US?
Yes.
Awesome.
Actual serious, more serious, useful answer. So, the obviously moving internationally is not trivial, and the US has little questions like, why are you here?
Right.
What visa are you coming in on? So yes is the short version. The long version is that I can look at an L1 visa with my current employer from around June 2022. So likely that if I'm moving with them, which is probably the simplest example, we would look at applying for that towards the end of the year. But things are going really well with the company in London, so there's probably going to be a lineup of me trying to go for promotion, and then move over as I promote, basically. So I go, right, let's find the next level of role in the US, and then make that hop. I also think, and again, I'm moving up and up the ranks, and that also makes it easier, because like when I first looked at moving to the US, I was looking at H-1B visas. There's a finite quota for them. And there's like a 3-second interval you have to apply during to actually get one, whereas L1s are simpler, and I can potentially just go for all sorts of things. Like there's there are visas that if you just are in the news, that you can get them in a little bit. Do I account for that now? Interesting.
Is there a particular part of the country that you've begun thinking about potentially?
So,
Starbase, Texas.
I was going to say the East or the West Coast. I went, that's great, Ross. You really narrowed that one down. It's going to be logistically focused, realistically. If I'm told, by the way, we want you in the US, that's great. And the job for you is in, I'm trying to think of the darkest thing I could play. I don't know, like San Diego. And I'm just going to, okay, I didn't see that coming. I'm just naming random American cities here. There is actually a Google office in San Diego. But anyway,
San Diego's a great city, by the way. I love San Diego.
Great, I'm sold. But the thing is, it's all, let's just move one step forward. Let's get into the country, get my feet on the ground, let me start succeeding in locale, and then worry about the fine details of exactly where that is. I actually looked at moving to the US in my 20s. There was a woman involved. Who I hope he is not watching this. Anyway, and I was looking at moving to Seattle. Now, she's not in Seattle. I was a bit, but I get a job in Seattle, and then it's a lot closer.
There's so many tech jobs in Seattle too.
Well, this is the thing: is if I'm not it's not intercontinental flights anymore. That's a step forward. Yeah. Let's get me into the country that I can go from a temporary visa to a permanent visa. Then I can move anywhere. That's fine. But let's start that process, and she's going, no, this is ridiculous. What the heck is going on? And that's where it kind of that was kind of the beginning of the end. It wasn't what broke us apart, but it was that logistical breakdown of me trying to find a job exactly where she was an absolute nightmare, which meant visas weren't happening, and then it just made things more tense between the two of us, and then that collapsed it. So it wasn't what pulled us apart, but it was that sort of seed of everything collapsing about several years later. So I'm very focused on just sort of get in, spend some time there. And I think also once I'm in role in the country, it's much easier for me to then go, thank, this has been fun. I'd like fully remote now if I could, please. But I think that's actually another thought is how weird is it going to be if I said I'd like to get a visa to move to the US, but I'm going to be fully remote? Is the US government going to go, I'm sorry, why?
I think now it's more of I think that has changed a bit. Maybe prior to 2020, that might be the difference. And real quick, let me apologize. I might be popping in and out. I was in the emergency room this morning, as Ross knows. And I'm on weird medication, so I just if you noticed, I randomly just got up. I had to get something to eat because I was feeling a little woozy. So just, if you see me get up, just sorry.
No worries, Nick. Do have a few super chat questions here I want to get to now. RVP 2021, thank you for $5. Is the new update enough for Tesla to adopt?
So ultimately, that's a question for Tesla. I hope so. But like, they're a company and they will make their own decisions based on their own strategy, which I have no significant insight into.
Out of the Elon, he requested a few different things out of Dogecoin to become, more, acceptable.
I'm going to very slightly tweak what you just said there, because I would say he recommended several things.
Sure. Yeah, sure. Out of those things, so obviously fee reduction was a huge part of this update. And I was poking around in seeing what I could see. Did anything change as far as speed goes, or because I know that's a very technically complex thing. Like, was anything else other than fees a major part of this update?
Not in any significant way. So I think there are tweaks to the internal performance of the system, and it probably reduced the load on the machines it runs on. That may make the network a couple of percent faster. But no, they're not like 10x improvements the way Elon was talking about.
Yeah, I think that's
yeah. And
to do that.
Yeah, I think the thing is, and I think the fees update is a very good example of something that sounds incredibly simple, like take this number, reduce it by 100, by 10 or 100 in this case. Sounds super simple, and we spent 6 months doing it, and we released it, and there were unforeseen consequences. And I think that's the thing, that was the simplest of these three, and that's this is why we are so hyper cautious. And I think the other two, we would. So speaking for myself here, I would recommend to the foundation. I am not making a decision on their behalf, but this is what I would say to them: is that if we are looking at other consensus parameters anyway, which I think we are, we should look at that as a wider thing. At the same time, we haven't yet enabled segregated witness. We haven't looked at enabling Taproot. These both increase the number of transactions per block. But we actually have a really super weird problem in that we have underfull blocks. And that is having weird consequences that some people think is really bad, because they'll see empty blocks being mined and they go, this is terrible. It's actually not, because what you're seeing is that is empty because it's full of the overflow from the previous block. There's no overflow, so it's empty. As soon as the previous block is full, you would see more blocks being full. So we need to have them start trickling up to 80-90% full, and then you'll see a healthier looking pattern. It's weird. It's also very interesting commentary on how much things are optically based. Like, we know as engineers that this is fine, but it really worries people.
In that, I know one of the, primary things Elon is in Tesla, I should say, is concerned about is the, cleanliness of any crypto that they accept. Obviously, they stopped accepting Bitcoin because of this, very reason. But I mean, from everything that I understand about Dogecoin is one of the more cleaner proof of work coins out there. Am I correct about that?
But this is relative, so it's it is a little bit like, if you give me the option of a third-degree burn or a first-degree burn, I'll take the first, thanks. But I would still rather improve things further. Like, it's kind of degrees.
Sure.
And definitely, I know the foundation wants to look at having proof of stake, but at the moment, it's crazy because we are just getting momentum going and getting everything. Sorry. All my lights just turned off to tell me to go to bed. I was going to fix that quickly.
Okay.
Fortunately, the green screen means you can't tell.
Right.
It has been quite hilarious here. Because my house just quietly turns my lighting back down. Yeah, and I'm going, thanks. Thanks for the hint there, computer. Yeah, so I'd love for the foundation to have the energy to look at proof of stake, but I know there's a whole backlog of other things they're doing, and even just basic operational criticality things that need to happen are sort of spinning up right now. And there's a whole weird thing where you basically, normally you start a company and then launch a product, and what's happened was you launched the product, then started a company. And it turns out that makes it complicated.
Got it.
Because people keep calling you with support requests, and we're going, we have no... what? Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, did you have anything else to add to that, Ross?
No, I just finished rambling into the wall. It's fine.
It's making sure. Another super chat question from Mr. Particle, $5. Thank you for that. How do the Doge transaction fees compare now to say currency like XRP? Would you know?
I don't know off the top of my head. The thing is, I can type XRP typical fee into Google.
Yeah.
But I kind of figure you guys don't need the typing, and everyone else can do that. And unfortunately, that's all. I know that we are lower than pretty much anything else I've seen, but that doesn't mean there isn't going to be surprises out there. That go on chat, find the cheapest. There's going to be something like try Nyan coin. That'll be cheap, I'm sure.
Yeah. Also, $10 super chat from that's a difficult one to pronounce. I've seen you in the chat before. You're in
Rinlu 74.
How would you say it, Nick?
You're in Lou.
You're
I don't know.
Well, thank you.
I don't know.
Nevertheless, thank you for your super chat. Really appreciate it. And a bow back to you, sir. Josh Randell disavows coming in with a $10 super chat. Thank you, Josh. Appreciate it. Let's get down to brass tacks. How much for a Ross Nicoll hat with a Dogecoin embroidered on it? I don't know how much that would run you. I mean,
Ross said his hat price doubled when we were talking on the last chat.
I mean, it depends on a lot of things. Like, I had not expected anyone to want merch from me. I know you can get a basic top hat for in the region of $30.
Did that come from Harrods, by the way?
No, but you probably could get the same one in Harrods.
Okay.
That's no basic top. That's no basic top hat, my friend. I know hats, and that's no basic.
I was going to say this is not a basic top hat though. So it's kind of, if you want this one that looks this good and also will hold together for an extended period, then it's going to be about 10x that. And that's the thing is, like, are we going to buy $300 hats and stick Dogecoins on them, and would that sell? Like, I would probably start with something that isn't a top hat first, and and then go from there. I don't know. I mean, maybe if we just find a way of doing it and say, like, it's a 1 month long pre-order because we had to go buy the hat first.
Maybe you could actually work with the company that manufactures your hat for a special Ross Nicoll signed signature model.
Can you imagine the conversation there? It's kind of, hello, Christie's, who are a very reputable, sensible, grounded company. Have you heard of Dogecoin? And it'd be kind of much wow.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. So speaking of which, do you get your hats from like an official hat store, like a specified? Yeah.
Yeah. So Christie's is a hat store in London.
Yeah.
That also sell their own hats. They also look to get them online. Now this I bought was like 2018. I was going to something and it had a circus theme, so I went as in a ringmaster themed outfit, and then it's got reused for this. Actually, this has been to Vancouver with me and back again. This hat. So yeah, the point ages ago. Yeah, and I just got about a week before the actual event. I need a top hat. I'm gonna go. I could get a cheap one. I could do this, and then it will last like just that way. Top hat for life.
Right.
I'm gonna go do this properly. Like Top Hats London into Google, and like a whole bunch of options came up, and I went, okay, so that's £1,000. Not that one.
All right.
That one's more reasonable. And again, I don't know if it was an offer or something, but it's half the current list price, which is like 350 quid or so.
Ross, sorry, go ahead.
No, I finished rambling. It was just running out of, we're just spewing words at that point. Please stop me.
Well, I was just about to ask you, so how's the foundation coming along, and where do you see its role evolving as you guys move forward here?
So we are gradually building momentum. Like lots of little things that you would think would be super simple are now actually finally in place, but are taking a lot longer. Again, because every time we sit down with someone and go, we're doing this, and they go, I'm sorry, that's all backwards. And they go, yes. And they go, are you sure you want to do that? We go, yes. And they go, oh. And then they go away and they think about it and they figure out how to do it. And then we come back and then we try doing it, and then something breaks and we go back to another. Like, Jens and I are writing an autobiography. Will probably never get published, but just experiences in trying to launch a startup for a product that's already in flight, and it does feel like you're trying to build a plane. You've jumped out of a plane with a little kit plane, and you're trying to build it mid-air, and it's just the most insane process.
Is that the working title?
I'm not telling you the working title because it kind of gives away this. It's a kind of a spoiler for about chapter 3. So we need a new title. I think there was the first working title. I think was a little less silly and was just kind of how not to run a $32 billion currency. So how do I see it fitting into? I think, well, the foundation should be beginning to take on the leadership, and you're beginning to see this bit. So they're beginning to get traction. Like there is so much for them to engage with. It's taking a while, and they are chipping away at this problem space at the moment. And things like we need to make sure that we don't have people impersonating Dogecoin. That if someone says I'm from the Dogecoin devs, then people know what does that mean. Like, we don't mind. You can call yourself a developer who works on Dogecoin, and that's absolutely fine. But don't say that you've been contributing if you have no contributions. We've seen people trying to start entire startups and going, "Oh yes, we're the devs," and we're a little bit, "Who are you guys?"
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So and it turns out we had the trademark, so we can kind of defend that. And if someone, like, we try really hard not to. I say adding very quickly, but like it does happen. Like if someone specifically is standing on something that makes it look immediately like it's us involved, we're a little bit. Come on, this is ridiculous.
Well, if you need a Dogecoin enforcer, I am available.
Security.
I would. No,
Yeah.
we're just gonna send the Doge after them. Like
That's it.
Yeah.
With like the armor plating and everything.
Yeah, and you get into some legally murky ground there. Obviously, there's been countless attempts at Doge spin-off tokens, things of this nature. There's a million of them out there. Any word you could put before or after Doge, you could think of it. There's probably been a BSC token named after it. So where does the foundation come in? Like, what can you guys do legally to maybe mitigate this sort of thing? I know that there's to a certain degree there is a line that's crossed, and then there's a certain degree I don't think there's not much you can do. Could you expand on that?
So I would say the first thing is, like, we only have the trademark on Dogecoin. So people go, "Oh, why don't you defend against this Doge?" And it's kind of, we don't have the Doge trademark. Someone else does, actually. They let us use it, which is very nice of them. But
Right.
Dogecoin is the only one we have. And that's the next problem, is that we only have it in some places. And we're currently defending it. And that's actually... So there's this whole chicken egg problem, right? To have the trademark, we need to be using the trademark, which means we need to have a merch store. So we're using the trademark to extend. There's a whole thing going on. And as I said, it really is just kind of, if they're actually claiming implicitly to be us, I think is where that line is drawn. Like if you look at a project and go, "Oh, this clearly came from the same people," and we go, "We've never heard of it," that's over the line. If they go like, we are doing, if they use Doge, or they refer to Doge, or the Doge theme, we're going to, because it's open source, we don't want to be seen as attacking. It just needs to be where it's directly causing a problem. At the same time, like, we do obviously do there's lots of guidance that we give to people. We ask people to relay to others as well. Like, when you're looking at a project, ask the basic questions: who are the team behind it? What's the economics? If the website was down tomorrow, who would you complain to? These things are fairly fundamental, and it's like such a key thing that, like, 90% of projects, you've got no idea who made them. You've got no idea how many tokens they're holding. Like, I don't care how many tokens they're holding. Like, Ripple is a perfect example of, like, they just had all the tokens and then trickled them out, and obviously it just worked. There is no right or wrong number. Controversial statement. but there's no right or wrong number. But you should know what that number is. Like, I don't want anyone to be surprised if it turns out the devs are holding 99% of the currency or 1% of the currency. Like, you should know this. And again, you should be comfortable that if the website just was gone tomorrow, you wouldn't be kind of, I don't know what to do now. Like, I think that's the biggest thing is, like, as decentralized currency, if you woke up tomorrow and Dogecoin.com was gone, then people have the code. They can take the code and they can go, well, this sucks, and they can keep going, because fundamentally the original devs for Dogecoin left. This is the team that went, oh, we should probably take over and keep going.
Right.
And another team could do that. And if you're looking at
thank you, by the way, for doing that, because you literally saved my life. So
wow.
I get very few opportunities. I've said it to Billy, but I just want to personally thank you, Ross, because you are the one who maintains my investment that has provided for my family, and thank you.
Worked out well. And this is the thing is, for Dogecoin, people could take it over. There's a plan. They know what they're doing. Would anyone jump in for your random Binance token? In many cases, yes. I'm not going to start naming them, but I think if I said Dogecoin themed currencies, any of the top three you just went through your head, someone could probably now jump in and get involved with. But there's so many random tokens people buy, and they have no idea who the devs are, or what they're doing, or what the roadmap looks like, or anything. I think Squid Game or Squid Token, or what it's called, is the perfect example of this. But it wasn't even hidden. He went, it works like this, and they're a bit, oh yeah, I'm buying this. It's gone up 10,000%. And they go, how do I sell? And he goes, it says you can't. And they go, what?
Yeah.
Speaking of, this is a great opportunity to dovetail into the question. I've seen it in the chat a bazillion times. We kind of briefly spoke about this in the earlier video stream, but Binance, what is going on?
So there is a statement on the Foundation website, and that is the long, coherent version, because we sat down and we looked over the timeline of notes we had, got everyone to cross-check all that. So I want to get really careful with the details I say.
If I could just preface it for those of you who don't know in the audience, recently Binance made an announcement that for the time being anyway, people are unable to withdraw any of their Dogecoin from their platform. Proceed.
So what's happened is Dogecoin 114.5 does what it says, and it reduces the fees required for transactions, which you would think would be simple and completely safe. However, there was a point where somehow Binance had transactions which had insufficient fees. We don't know quite how those were generated. And what happened was they then, instead of replacing the original transactions, they made a new transaction with higher fees and sent that. Great. But that didn't cancel the first transaction. And we are, as far as I'm aware, the first cryptocurrency to reduce their fees. And so we discovered something that no one else did, that all these transactions which were hypothetically valid, but just unminable right now, have been, we don't advertise the cancellation period, they just stayed. And so when the network started accepting lower fees, it went, oh, cool. I can now process this transaction, and it did. So they have double sent transactions essentially, and that is somewhat awkward right now.
This is not the first time, by the way, that Binance, and I'm not saying with Dogecoin, but Binance has gotten into this double transaction issue with its own cryptocurrency, right? I believe they have double issued BNB before, and there was a whole rigmarole that they had to go through to fix that issue. So this is not the first time that Binance has been in this situation. It's the first time that it's with Dogecoin. But I think you guys are in a very interesting situation now that you're correct. You're the first crypto to ever reduce their fees, which is huge. I don't know why more people aren't like, this should be major news. Like, this is like the kind of articles that should pop up on my phone from the news apps or whatever. Like, we see so many like knockoff news, blurbs that come up, but nobody's discussing the fact that the devs worked so incredibly hard to kind of make history in the world of crypto by lowering fees and doing it live, and that's huge. I think that needs to be talked about more.
And I think it's also very interesting that you see people going, "Oh, I don't know what Dogecoin is for," and we go, "It's literally for moving money between places." Like, you complain that it's going to cost you a fortune to move. I'm not going to name specific currencies, but there's plenty of currencies that, if you move them between two exchanges, it's going to cost you a non-trivial amount of money. And we're just going to, you run an exchange, trade it to Doge, send the Doge over. Oh, look, it's 0.1 cent. Great, everyone has a party, and then switch it back the other side. So sometimes the exchanges ramp those fees up a little bit. We can't do much to control that. But like the basic, a lot of them, even if they pad the fees a little bit, like, it's still, if they add 2 or 3 times multipliers to make it a little bit pricier, it's still super cheap, and that's kind of the big thing.
I remember the day when it was being the fee reduction code was in test phase, and it was put out. I tested $1 million. Steven remembers. I think I did it. Maybe it was live on the show or right before we went live. I sent $1 million transaction, and it was like, it was like a fraction of a. It was like, I think totaled up to like maybe 3 cents or something. It was something.
It's just wild. Which is, to me, I mean, we've talked about that extensively, Nick. Just how incredible and groundbreaking that is, and particularly in an era now where people are just constantly lamenting about gas fees and transfer fees, to know how efficient and cost effective Doge continues to be in that regard is nothing short of very, very newsworthy. Josh Randell disavows. Thank you for your $10 super chat. I think we'll save that question for another time. Harneil, thank you for your $2 super chat. Simply asked, have you had any interaction with Vitalik Buterin?
There's a live interview with me being interviewed alongside Vitalik a couple months ago. So yes, a little bit.
Can people still view that interview on your channel?
It's not on my channel. If you don't mind me linking to Soma's
no problem.
channel.
Yeah.
Cool. There's always a bit of a. It's always a little interesting when I refer people to Soma's channel and they go, "What are these other videos?" So it's a little controversial.
That was an interesting chat, by the way, that you guys had.
Yeah, I saw that.
Thank you. Okay, so I think I've just pasted that in the right chat. Hopefully.
Okay, so Ross is putting the link to that conversation that he had. You guys can mark that for another time, okay? But Jason Huffman coming in with a $10 super sticker with a spinning hippo. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. Donna Tabuki coming in with a $5 super chat. Do you like Yorkshire pudding? My mom-in-law was British, and learning to make it was a must. Ross.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Thankfully, so I'm not completely about to be disowned by the entire country. I mean, definitely one of the strong points of the UK is like we do a really good Sunday roast, and it's kind of one of our things. It's not something I get to have very often, but I should do now. Thanks. You may be hungry now, and it's like gone midnight.
Hey, I was supposed to stop you from doing this.
Ross, do you go ahead?
Oh no, I was just making silly noises now.
Okay. Do you often lose track of time while coding?
Less than you would think. I think I know a lot of coders, like, they get heads down and they just lose several hours. I tend, particularly because the style of coding I do, particularly for the day job, is a lot more mentoring than hands-on, deep stuff. It does happen though. Like, so I had May off between roles, and I was working on Dogecoin, and like there would be times I would sort of get up, grab coffee, get breakfast, and start coding, and the next thing I would know, it would be about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I'd be a bit, whoops, I probably should have got lunch at some point.
I would imagine with your level, or I should say time spent in the industry, you know, like your ability to, you're probably really good at time management. You've gotten to the place that you have in your field because you're probably very good at time management.
And it is one of these things, like, you know, I time manage myself and other people, and also it is rarely worth my time in the day job to be hands-on with code. I'm typically talking to someone else through how to solve a problem. I say this, like I'm still definitely in ramp-up phase, so I'm spending most of my day just reading documents at the moment. It's intense, but like, you know, as I'm starting to do code and starting to do bits and bobs here and there, like devs will send me code to review, and that's a lot more actually what I get involved with. I'll go, you're a small style problem there, and that will cause this problem in 3 years' time. And that's the sort of thing I know, and I can go, hey, yeah, this thing that's completely not obvious will have knock-on consequences later.
Circling back to Binance real quick, and this kind of relates to time spent. Is there, and I probably have no idea, and I would probably guess that because I know how Binance works and operates, but is there a time frame that they've given you guys to fix this issue on their end, or have they been, what is the communication with them been like?
So they kind of told us very quickly after they applied the update and went, why is this transaction live? Or a little bit, I don't get it. This transaction looks fine. And then they came back and went, yeah, so it was stuck previously. I went, oh, okay. And then I think others are talking to them more actively. I haven't looked at the chat in about 24 hours. They haven't, as far as I'm aware, given us a specific timeline. I think a lot of this will also, it's not just them fixing it, but they also need to make sure they understand what happened and what went wrong, and how to make sure it doesn't happen again in future. Sure. So there's probably going to be, you know, a post-mortem process essentially of, you know, how did this happen? What do we need to do with our engineering that we control this risk in future? I don't know, and therefore that I don't really know.
Yeah,
imagine it might be a little bit, or what they may well do, for example, would be to enable small withdrawals. That's one potentially good option, so that like not everyone's completely stuck, but like it's a controlled risk.
Sure. And I've heard, because I talk to a lot of people all over the world on Twitter, and I've actually heard of a couple other exchanges, specifically in India, I don't know why, that have also put a pause on their Dogecoin withdrawals. And somebody asked me, like, I work at the exchange, like I would know, like, how long is this going to take to get fixed? I don't know, but for them, it's not the problem with these Indian exchanges and not double transactions or anything like that. It's just they're probably implementing the new update, I would imagine. And,
I think that's also, you know, in any situation, obviously, we are inferring what we think has happened based on limited information.
Sure.
We don't have in-depth knowledge of Binance's engineering, and we don't have audit logs to know exactly what created those transactions. Mm-hmm. So we are working on the best theory, and Binance are too. And sorry, okay. And so I suspect a lot of the exchanges external to this are going, okay, we are going to go through this with a very fine-tooth comb and understand exactly what's happened before we update. And I think that makes sense. Like, you know, you want to be really certain. We want them to be really certain. I'm a little bit nervous. There is at least one exchange that shut down withdrawals several months ago, and we're a lot more worried about them. But if someone's reducing, if there's temporary sort of pauses on withdrawals, well, they just make sure that everything's working right.
Can you hope that exchange, or?
I don't know if I can. I think we're going to, but I don't want to say it and then find out that we were not going to.
No, that's fine. Yeah.
Russ, Billy Marcus, myself, and some others have been expressing the importance of making Dogecoin more palatable in the NFT space. This would obviously be achieved through a Doge-Ethereum token that hopefully OpenSea would eventually accept in the future. What are your thoughts on this? Is this one of the things that the Doge-Ethereum bridge would make possible? Yeah?
Well, I'm going to be a bit awkward and say, well, you can actually do that essentially already, or you already, there is a bridge already, because there's two bridges that exist, and there's a third in development, and they all do subtly different things. And of the two bridges that exist, Doge is coming out as the winner so far. So that's the one I would say, like, you could just exchange your Dogecoins for Doge tokens, and then if we, hopefully the NFT marketplaces will just start taking Doge at a suitable exchange rate. And there's something actually I was thinking out today, like, I haven't spent Dogecoins in a while. I have, I don't know how close people watch my account. I kind of figure people do actually. If anyone is watching, I have been moving a few into somewhere else just for safety, but I haven't been spending. But I was thinking, like, how would I do this? And I'm kind of actually getting to the conclusion of, like, I don't really want to be using centralized exchanges. I'm thinking about exactly that process, about moving Doge to Doge, and then taking that Doge and putting it through Uniswap to get a different cryptocurrency out, and then so I can exchange out. There are debit cards that you can load up with different cryptos. Actually, that said, Crypto.com I believe takes Doge, so actually I'm probably overcomplicating the problem. Anyway, Doge is a short version. We just need to convince OpenSea to take it.
Yeah. And thank you for that. So what you're essentially saying is now, particularly with the advancement of the latest update, that Doge token is already something that can be achieved currently.
And interestingly, so I've seen Doge is getting a little bit more traction, and I'd love for the problem is Doge has kind of started working, but it's kind of, it's the Dogecoin cryptocurrency with the fees of Ethereum. So that's not worked out great right now.
Right.
And I think that's kind of where it's got stuck. It's they've got the engineering working, and then we've hit an economic problem. And I think that's kind of going to be a bit clogged until Ethereum 2.0 actually fully engages. Now they're talking about even just the docking between ETH1 and ETH2 being 2022. I've seen rumors of summer. Actually, I'm a bit optimistic. I think spring, but I don't know. That's just my guess. But even once those two dock, we then still don't have the new sharding coming in, and that's the key thing that will reduce the fees. So I think we've kind of got this sort of out of sequence problem. Now, this is where it gets interesting. So I'm going to come up with a whole theory on your stream live. So let's try this. So I was looking at cross-chain atomic transactions. This is an idea from back 2012, 2013. But pre-Ethereum, you can do a transaction on one chain, and you can use it to unlock a transaction on another chain. So if I have Dogecoin and you have Bitcoin, I can say, I will give you this Dogecoin if you give me that Bitcoin. And you can go, okay, I've locked the Bitcoin to your Dogecoin, or a 24-hour timeout period. Send your Dogecoin. And so you go, okay, here's the Dogecoin. And the Bitcoin's then released. I'm slightly modifying how it actually works to explain it more easily, because it's actually a more complex process. But that's the output.
It's almost like a live trading pair.
Yeah, but across two blockchains, which makes it.
That's crazy. I mean, that's like a live trading pair between two different chains. I mean, that's pretty crazy.
Well, if you've seen Jelly Swap, that's how that works, as I understand it. Yeah, yep. So you can swap between Ethereum and another smart contract platform in a completely decentralized way, which is really cool. I think you can do the same with an NFT. I think you can have an NFT on Ethereum, and you can have a Jelly Swap-like contract that will sell it to you for Dogecoin on a different platform.
I think this is very interesting.
This is very interesting. Wow. So we're essentially talking about a jelly swap.
Yeah. Like, they
Process?
swaps two tokens. Why can't one of them be an NFT?
Interesting. Now it's just a matter of convincing OpenSeas to integrate something along those lines. Just to be clear for the audience, this particular kind of a jelly swap approach that we're discussing, what would the fees generally look like on a scenario like that?
Unfortunately, it doesn't really fix the fee problem. So it means you still have to pay for the NFT to move. So you solve the problem that you're not doing a Doge to Ren Doge swap and then paying with Ren Doge. So you're kind of reducing the number of transactions overall.
Yes.
Or at least number of Ethereum transactions. So that's where the saving is. But the actual transaction executed is you're still paying for something. So I think it will probably give you about a 50% reduction. But obviously that's not down to Dogecoin like numbers, totally. But really cool tech is the theory. But yeah, we need to have like an infinite number of engineers so I can just get everything out of my head and say, go write all this, please.
Gotcha. Interesting. So, could you kind of indulge us a little bit in terms of one of the really more pressing topics with a lot of people has been the exorbitant gas fees regarding Ethereum. Do you know to what degree this may or may not be addressed through the Doge-Ethereum bridge?
Sadly, the bridge won't make a difference to it. Because what the bridge is doing is putting Dogecoin and therefore having a stable... So Dogecoin is in many ways a semi-stable cryptocurrency. Like, it does obviously move around. It's not like it's pegged to the US dollar like many others, but is a stable pricing. And you see this actually for extended periods of time, it will hover in a range. And that, I think, is what appealed to the Ethereum Foundation back when the reward was initially put up for this back in like 2015. It gives you something that you can price something in and expect a coherent result when the transaction completes. And if you don't change out of it in a month's time, you're not going to be up or down 10%,
right,
or 20%, or 100%, or whatever the numbers will be. But that's the problem it solves, is giving you a semi-stable cryptocurrency, something that isn't pegged, but is good for purchasing on the Ethereum blockchain. And unfortunately, in the time since they kind of initially put that reward down, fees have become a bigger deal.
Gotcha.
Very big deal.
Right. So the fee reduction process for Ethereum is mostly going to lie in the hands of Ethereum 2.0, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So they had a major hard fork, I think, in August.
Yes.
That did stabilize the sort of spikes in the fees because of how they're assessed. I was hoping it would bring the fees down, and I think to a degree it did temporarily. But now, of course, the price has gone up again. And I suspect the fees have gone up with it. I don't do a lot of transactions on Ethereum, so I don't know the day-to-day pricing. But the long-term model I think remains Ethereum 2.0, and potentially, obviously they're talking about 64 chains in the first instance. Great, we suddenly have 64 times the capacity. Now you'll see the fees go down a long way, because the fees are driven by the excess demand. Like, as soon as you take that, like if you double the capacity, is there twice the transactions? Is there like 100% spare transactions that aren't getting in? Maybe. If you quadruple the capacity, then I don't think we've got 4 times the transactions. So if you have 64 times the transactions, you now have a vast excess of capacity for a period of time at least. And therefore, the competitive nature of the fee just goes. So all you now are left with is enough to make it worthwhile the miner mining, and there will be an equilibrium stabilization period. But I suspect the fees will drop very quickly.
Okay, so that's kind of big news. So you suspect that once 2.0 actually does get executed, that this will have a significant impact on the lowering of fees for Ethereum.
Once, not just the docking, but the actual sharding is in place. Yes.
Okay.
I'm gonna get a message from another window saying, "What are you talking about?" Aren't I? But I mean, this is my theory. Like, do you have fees that are going up because of the competitive nature? That, like, if you have 20% surplus transactions and you want to know, you have people bidding to get their transaction in, which creates a price inflation until it's not worth any more transactions, and that's going to keep the price high. So I don't know how far it will drop, but it would imply that once you have 64 times the capacity, which is the current number, adjusting that slightly for cross-chain, making it more complicated in some cases, like you would expect the demand will drop very rapidly, or the excess demand pressure will drop very rapidly, and the price will then tail with it.
Got it. And it was my understanding that the Doge-ETH bridge was, I think, first handed off to you guys, the Doge development team, and then once completed, it was passed back to the Ethereum development end for fine tuning. Is that correct? And then if
No,
that's not okay. That's I must have misheard that. So yeah, please correct it.
So there was a reward put up of £5,000 worth of Ethereum back in 2015. Because that's roughly how much we thought it would be in a week, maybe 2 weeks engineering effort. We were wrong. But that was put up by Ethereum backers on the Ethereum blockchain. It has a reward contract on Ethereum. You can actually go and Google it and type like Dogecoin reward, Doge-Ethereum bridge contract, and it will come up on the Blockchain Explorer. And a couple of teams got involved and started digging into it, and then one sort of stuck with it and kept going. But there was a weird problem where it became very rapidly apparent that the problem vastly exceeded the engineering effort we expected, and therefore the reward at the time wasn't sufficient. And actually, one of the big backers also in about this point took their stake of Ethereum out. But then the price of Ethereum started going up, so the amount of Ethereum stayed stable, but suddenly £1,000 of Ethereum which was about 1,000. So it'd gone from I think 5,000 Ethereum to 1,000 Ethereum or something. I don't know the exact numbers. Go on the blockchain, go look it up. But that was actually 1,000 Ethereums in there. Like it was £1 per ether when it went in. So £5,000 of Ethereum was 5,000 Ethereum. Of course, that's quite a lot more money now. Now, some of that's been paid out at earlier points because as the devs hit milestones, we paid them to say, okay, you've got some progress, great, we're going to pay you some money, so on and so forth. But no, there is a separate team, independent of the Ethereum and Dogecoin developers, that is doing the work. And there is a joint judging pool, or pool of judges between the two sets of devs. So it is Max and myself on the Dogecoin side. There is a bunch of, there's Vitalik and a number of people I can't remember the names of. I'm really sorry to all of them. On the Ethereum side, but this is actually how I ended up talking to a Vitalik back in about 2015. Like we were just judging things together.
Okay, got it. Thank you for clarification on that. What probability do you give Dogecoin being accepted by Tesla, Ross?
Oh, I am going to skip that one because like any answer is the wrong answer.
Okay.
That's like asking Ross for the price prediction.
I know. It was on the
trying to slide that in there
on the fringes. Yeah. A lot of people were asking me to ask, so I was just kind of representing the audience.
Wish I knew I wish I knew or had an announcement to give or anything, but it is kind of like. And the thing is, like, we love being open. Like, I would love for Tesla to just tweet out, "Hey, we're thinking about it," or "We're not thinking about it," or a timeline, or no timeline, or something.
Did you catch that little code thing that guy dug into?
Oh, the website thing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I am 80% certain someone was bored and thought it would be funny without thinking through the consequences.
Meaning
Could be wrong.
It's
Could be
just
wrong.
it's just a farce. It's just not real.
I think the website thing was incidental. I think someone thought it would be funny.
Oh, I see what you mean. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I don't think it relates to anything. I don't think it indicates for or against. Again, my experience of big companies is like people go, oh, they have this. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Like I know, for example, Valve used to put these incredible ARGs together.
Yeah.
Like the Portal. I remember Portal 2 being announced by ARG, and it was like,
Yeah.
if you look at this, 17 this exactly 17.3 seconds into this video clip, you can see this, which is actually Morse code for this phone number, which if you call,
Yeah,
will
I
give you
remember
some
that.
coordinates in Denver, and you go there at midnight and say you're looking for a tomato. I don't know, like, it was not actually quite like that, but it was, and they actually put this incredible ARG together, and like they had crazy things. Like I think so, they actually had modems, like back in the point, you could still get one, but it was rare.
Yeah.
And people had to find a modem and go and do this, audio handshake over the phone line. So this is old school. I don't think Tesla's done that. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. But again, like it's kind of like they will announce anything when they're happy and ready to.
I think they just recently filed with the SEC,
I did see that. Yes.
letting them know that they are getting ready to accept crypto payments again. They didn't mention which cryptos they, obviously we know they already accept Bitcoin. But I would imagine, just with Elon's, ties to Dogecoin and just the fact that the fees are so low now, and the average person, I think the average individual is willing to spend their Dogecoin. I think it just makes sense to have Tesla accept Dogecoin at this point.
And obviously, I'm saying all this very uncertainty, but it is kind of, we'd love for them to. I mean, we always love adoption. I think that's great, and here's hoping. I also need to get a parking space.
And
This
Ross,
is the thing is that everyone goes, if you got an amazing car, if you got a Tesla X, and they go, I'm in London, I can't afford parking.
yeah, it's very very congested there. Ross, did you catch wind of this kind of coding leak in relation to Tesla's website where the word Shiba was in it?
That's what I was
did.
Yeah, that's what I was asking about.
And that was kind of, I do remember waking up and everyone was kind of going, what is this? Are they going to take SHIB? I was a bit, I really just hope that's the intern getting bored.
So, just to explain for those people who in the audience who didn't see it, the code was written to Shiba, not SHIB.
Yeah, Shiba.
It was spelled Shiba. The ticker symbol that it was associated with in the website code was actually SBA, which I don't think I looked at, couldn't find anything related, but the address that the funds were being channeled to, it was a Dogecoin address. So, it is very possible that somebody at Tesla, whoever was programming, was just having a bit of fun.
See, it's interesting because all that detail that I just got the headline version of Shiba's on Tesla, and I was a bit it is kind of. I woke up, I saw the headline, I was having breakfast, need to get to work, and then a couple of hours in, people went, "Oh, they're taking it off the website." I went, "Okay, cool," and then forgot about it. So it's actually super interesting. Going, oh, actually, there was a Dogecoin like address in there.
Yeah, it's a Dogecoin address. Yeah.
Has anyone checked what's in there?
Yeah, nothing.
Dang it.
Yeah.
See, now I'm a little bit, can I just sneak my tipping address into the Tesla website?
Yeah, there we go. There we go.
Oh, dude, you'd be a millionaire like.
Yeah,
overnight.
people go, oh, is this how I pre-order? Going, nope.
Guys, you're watching Steven Steele Live. I'm Steven Steele. My esteemed guest this evening is none other than legendary core contributor, developer, and Dogecoin Foundation member, Ross Nicoll. We're just having a great conversation here about all the things you've been wanting to know and more. If you could just smash that like button, just takes a split second of your time. It's the easiest thing, most effective thing you can do to help out this channel.
We've actually got more likes than people watching at the moment.
Yeah, they're very good. Our crew is very good about that. And also, if you're new here, I just want to personally welcome you. We do a lot of live streaming here, and we've got just a exemplary community here, and would want you to be a part of it. So make sure you hit subscribe, hit all on the notification bell. It's great to have you all with us here this evening.
Can I ask?
Go ahead.
Can I ask a possible? This might be something that you can't comment on, and if you can't, hey, no big deal. But it's a question that I know a lot of people are wanting to know and asking, and I want to know myself. And you sit on the foundation; you would be the person to ask. What happened, or what is going on with Jared?
I think that from what I understand, that's just still up in the air, and so there's not really an update on there as far as I'm aware. So
that's basically what I was gonna say. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's totally fine. I just had it had been on my mind, and I'm sure if the foundation had some official statement or something like that, it would come out. So yeah, no worries.
Have you ever met Billy Marcus in real life, Ross? And
I haven't, and I presume he is in fact just a dog. I have never seen a photo of him. I've never seen a video. I therefore presume that. Have you seen the? I have no idea what I'm doing, dog. Like either the science one or the, in space one. Like either of those. That's how I envision him.
I've seen one picture of him.
Interesting.
Back in the Reddit days, yeah.
Interesting.
Who was Ross? Who was the first other Dogecoin dev that you met online?
Max. So Max Langerhans. So this goes back to like March 2014, and like I always tell the story, and I go like I needed some portfolio work, and it's like, oh, this looks interesting. I'll get into that for a few months. And like I was hanging out in IRC, and I found this Dogecoin dev channel. Like, oh, cool! I can go pester people. And Max was sitting in there, and I went, "How's it going?" And he was a bit, "We're trying to get this release out." I was a bit, "Can I help with that?" And he went, look at this bit." And I was like just poking around stuff, and it kind of rolled from there. So yeah, to Max, and then we got another dev who's now left the team under less than ideal circumstances. So trying not to name them. Actually, had a few. We had Letty join and then leave again. So I had a few come and go over the years. I didn't hear a lot from Jackson. I did hear a bit from Billy at this point in time. It's actually interesting because Jackson and Billy had kind of gently sort of drifted or were drifting out around this point.
Right.
And then of course, but like Billy is super active now, and that's great. It's really incredible thinking back to there was this very very extended period, but he just was gone.
Yeah.
And it's great to have him back in.
It's so funny. The time, so this was completely unintentional, but the time when Billy left is when I left crypto, like altogether as well. Except I just forgot. I still had all of my crypto. I just let it go. Forgot about it until now.
I mean, definitely my main tip on crypto. Everyone goes, "How do you make money?" I went, "Forget about it for 5 years."
We talk about this like every show.
Yeah. My other tip would be don't buy more than you can forget out for 5 years.
Right.
Having heard Nick's story, I don't know how you forgot about it. Well done. I mean, the thing is, like, I tell people this, and it's kind of at the same time, I'm just gonna how's the market doing? So
Steven,
do what I say, not what I do. There.
Steven asked me this all the time, like, because what was it? 2017, Dogecoin hit a penny. I think someone and Steven asked me, like, how did you not watch the market? And I had completely disconnected myself from crypto. And keep in mind, I bought Bitcoin and a bunch of Bitcoins in 2012. Well, not a bunch, but like 11 Bitcoins in 2012. And then I bought Litecoin in 2013, and then I bought tons of Dogecoins in 2014. And how do you just not watch the market? Or like, how do you not hear about it? I think in that period from then until now, in 2017, one person, I think, told me that Dogecoin hit a penny, which you would think would be like, oh my God. I remember thinking about it and being like, oh, that's cool. Like, I didn't even open the wallet. Like, I shut my wallet down at the end of 2014, beginning of 2015, and that was it. I never opened it.
It's interesting because I think when I first heard of the price going through the roof, I was a bit. I think that's just someone messing with the numbers.
Yeah, right. Like, did somebody add that? Right.
Yeah, no, that's just one of the exchanges has just had a pricing hiccup. It'll be fine in 5 minutes. We've seen this before. Happens all the time. Don't worry about it. No. Same thing. Like I remember someone tweeting. By the way, someone messaged me. I think it was LinkedIn. By the way, Elon's tweeting out Dogecoin. I went, no, it's just another impersonator. We get this all the time. Rolled over, went back to sleep. Sorry, Elon.
Whoops. Sorry about that.
Fine, we figured it out eventually.
Ross, over 100,000 Dogecoin have now been raised for a collaboration with Team C to help clean up the oceans, which is awesome. Was this do you know if this was a spontaneous community thing, or did Team C reach out to the foundation?
A bit of both, really. I mean, like, it wouldn't work without the community getting involved and donating the money. Obviously, yeah, so they did reach out to the foundation. I mean, obviously, we did not spontaneously produce a website in 3 seconds. So we heard about this about a week ahead of time, so it was pretty rushed. But this is a good example of, like, people go, what's the foundation doing? It's got lots of things. Just, your mental model of how much capacity we have is 100 people. And you don't realize it's 100 people's worth of work. We have 4 people and it's more like 3, and one of them's ill right now. Okay. Anyway, but yeah, we heard about this about a week ahead of time, and we were right. Can we get a website up? Can we get a ticker up? Can we make a video? Okay, that video didn't work. Let's make another video. And bounce a few ideas around, and I mean, I know a few people in the foundation have donated. Certainly, I publicly donated. I can't remember how much I did, but like the vast majority is from the community, and that's again the thing is, like, it's all we aim to be decentralized. Like the foundation exists; it's a tangible thing, but we hold we hold 0.001% of all coins, I think, give or take. Like, we can't. It has to be a decentralized effort by everyone.
Yes.
Or can we talk about Bitcoin? That also work. Just give everything back. Fine,
I think people, it's funny because when Dogecoin first took off at the beginning of the year, it got a lot of flack from the news medias. It's so centralized. One wallet contains 30% or whatever. It's down to 23% now, and obviously we know that wallet is Robinhood. This is known at this point. When Robinhood releases the wallets to their users, which they've now confirmed is going to be at the end of Q1 for next year, I don't think people realize that at that point in time, Dogecoin will become one of the most decentralized cryptos in the top 10, like percentage-wise. I don't think enough people are talking about that.
I mean, I think it's also, what does we don't really understand how centralized a currency is anyway. Because we look at what we're looking at is, like, how many people have put how many rich people have put all their money in one pot, like, as opposed to just breaking it up. Like, if you take one of those pots, I think basically Robinhood did this and split it across 20 addresses. Is it more decentralized? Like, it's still Robinhood controlling all of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just in more pots. And so what does that even mean? I mean, at the same time, it's one of my frustrations with cryptocurrency that cryptocurrency has this idea, it's all, completely grassroots, money for the people, and it's kind of, we have also kind of just given a lot of money to some rich people. Like, that's just kind of a thing.
Right.
I don't have a way of not doing that. Like, everyone goes, oh yeah, mining makes it decentralized. It's kind of, yes, except that, like, the miners have warehouses full of hardware.
Yeah. Worth millions of dollars.
If you've got millions of dollars to buy it, great. Oh, pardon me, I do apologize. great, you can do that, but unless you've got that, that's you compete at the scale you're at. And again, it's exactly why like the devs aren't just I'm not having this conversation from my super yacht. In the everyone goes, oh, you must have had like big number Dogecoin. It's kind of, I didn't have the spare cash for it at the time. Same deal actually with Bitcoin. That I had 2 Bitcoins in 2013, and I sold them at the start of 2013 at $20 because I needed the money for stuff. And then in Ethereum, I bought a lot of Ethereum, and I sold it at I think $10 because I needed the money for something. And this is kind of a recurring theme. That said, and I think it's also super important to emphasize this, in cryptocurrency, your once in a lifetime opportunities come around about every 3 years in my experience. So everyone goes, oh, this is the last possible time I can get this. It's gonna I've missed a lot of once in a lifetime opportunities. I will catch the next one. It's fine. I was actually just looking at the time. I'm going to have to head off in about 12 minutes, by the way.
Okay, sure. Yeah. We'll move things right along and get you out of here in that fashion, Ross. So is this the most significant update in your opinion? And have you already started thinking or working on the next updates objectives? Do you have any thoughts? If so, do you have any thoughts on perhaps what those objectives may be?
So 1.14.5, definitely, I think the biggest update since 1.14.0. It updates a whole bunch of things that we depend on. And there's a lot of engineering stuff that's just better, basically. And it's difficult to quantify because it's like going from an 80s car to a 90s car and going, oh, but they both drive down the road. It's kind of, yes, but they do it a lot better. And a lot of this is also just things that it's like under the hood, like taking an 80s engine and replacing it with a 90s engine, despite ignore the feasibility questions, you'd get better miles per gallon and all sorts of other things, and you get better progress because we've updated the dependencies. It's a bit under the hood. Mm-hmm. The next one, the stuff I'm seeing, so I am not directly planning 1.14.6. Patrick clearly is. Mm-hmm. And the stuff I'm seeing from him at the moment is very focused on continuing that model of basically overhauling the internal engineering. Cool. My focus is 121. Now, 121 is a complete rebuild. So I would say it is like going from a 90s car to, I don't know, something...
Spaceship.
I kind of want to say a Tesla, honestly. Like I'm a little bit, because it is kind of, you're going from it works like this to it works fundamentally differently. Like, there are similarities, they both go down a road, but like a Tesla, your engine location, how the whole thing works is wildly different. And that's the thing. And that has upsides and downsides. Like, it means that we will have an exciting different set of problems, basically. A lot of things that fundamentally work in 1.14.5, we try picking it up and adapting them to 121, and it just does not fit. Like, it's kind of like saying, oh yeah, we solved this problem with a catalytic converter, and now I have an electric drivetrain.
Gotcha. So, okay.
It's also really good. I kept having bits and just stopping it all the time. But yeah, the main thing with 121 is it moves the baseline forward massively, and that's thanks to the Bitcoin devs. I have to thank them. But it also brings, we've got 4 years more experience doing this. So all of our new experience about thinking about how this works is in 121's engineering. So I think it's a much more solid result from day one. Whereas 1.14 took quite a few goes to get right. Like, it was not until 1.14.3 that it was really solid. 121, I think, there are prototype versions of it out there that are good. We had to move the dev tip jar 5 months ago, and for various operational reasons, that was done with 121. So that's how confident I was about it already. But even then, we know we can't cover everything. We will put this live, and someone's going to have a weird experience, but we don't know what that is. It's going to be something that we haven't thought of because there's infinite things.
Josh Rondell disavows coming with a $10 super chat. How does Ross feel about PG Tips tea?
Not a huge fan. Sorry. Again,
there you go.
Back to the Yorkshire tea. At least go for the Twinings people. Come on, keep it classy.
Guys, you are speaking to a future American, Ross Nicoll. Donna coming in $5 super chat. Maybe we should look at properties in Prince Harry's neighborhood. We'll get you out here in just a couple minutes here. Are you generally excited about the future of Dogecoin?
2% no.
I know. I was thinking that.
Cut screen! Get him off! Oh my goodness, no!
If you're just like, nah. Just,
Coin with a dog on it? Don't think so. Yeah, no, I think you see this, we need to get the fee, we need people talking about the fees and going, wow, this is really cheap, I should be using this more. But I think once that gets going, we can really be a proper payment system and do some amazing things with that. Yes.
Awesome. And just a few lighthearted questions before we send you on your way here, Ross. In regards to pizza, thin crust or thick crust?
Curiously thin, but I used to really like thick. I don't know why I changed. It's interesting. Young me really liked crazy thick pizza, and then older me is kind of now all thin crust. I think it's because they put me into a carb coma now.
When you come to Chicago, or when you come to America, and if you visit Chicago, I will take you to Lou Malnati's, which is the Cadillac of pizzas. And it's thick crust, and it's the best in the world.
Weren't you trying to get me into shape? You're gonna take me to this pizza place. And
what's going on? Is this part of the Nick Ball's protocol?
Yeah. It's part of the bulking program.
I actually had a gym in Vancouver that looked over a pizza place. I was just I don't know. This is the best of the worst idea ever.
That's awesome.
Hey, I'm a thin crust guy myself. That being said, if you're going to make one exception to great deep dish, great thick crust, it's going to be in Chicago. That much I can tell you. So we're all gonna hang out once you get over the pond here. So we're gonna keep campaigning to get Ross repatriated to the United States here. Get him over here. Do you have a favorite James Bond film?
So I haven't seen some of the more recent ones. I actually really like Casino Royale. I don't the second Casino Royale, not the first one. Weirdly, I haven't seen the first one.
That first one's pretty wacky.
Well, this thing I haven't actually seen the first one, so I can't make a judgment call on it. But I was halfway through seeing Casino Royale. Went, there are two of those. You should clarify. Because they're just going to think you're crazy. Yeah. I mean, I am, but that's not the point.
Yeah, I think that's a great choice. I think Casino Royale. Personally, that's my favorite one. With I can't believe his name's eluding me right now. The current Bond, Daniel Craig.
Thank you. Yeah. Interesting question back again. What have you seen Spectre? What do you think? Should I go see it?
Spectre. I don't think that's not the latest one, is it?
It's not. This is how far back I am.
Okay.
It's on streaming. Is it worth me streaming it?
I do not recommend it.
I don't recommend it either. I feel
Daniel Craig just phones it in.
Yeah. I feel like that one's very lackluster. It's also when they started putting, in my opinion, like a major pivot into the approach to his character. I just don't think it's been quite the same since then. So it'll be interesting to see where it goes from here now that Daniel Craig's going to be closing his legacy on the franchise. But yeah, I thought Spectre was pretty lackluster. I agree with Nick. But those early Daniel Craig films are just absolutely phenomenal. Some of the best, hands down. I think Casino Royale, Quantum of Solace are some of the best bodies of work in the entire series. So I think
has either one of you seen Knives Out?
Pretty good, actually.
No. I like that movie a lot.
And I didn't think that was going to be good, but that was really well done. Yeah. He's in that.
Yeah, it's really good.
I can't for the life of me remember the name of the most recent Bond one, but I will. I'll keep an eye out for the reviews when it comes on streaming. Because I
I've
saw them
heard
around
bad
Spectre
things.
was a little bit. That doesn't look. They're solidly air. I was a
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah,
I can't remember if it was the last James Bond or not the most recent, but the one before that. At the very end, he like he's just like, yeah, whatever. Like you could almost see him like grabbing his paycheck. Like it's it's like wild. I think Daniel Craig kind of got over the whole James Bond thing in the end there.
I'm weirdly sad they haven't made or remade potentially any of the Austin Powers movies. Like,
Right? I
yeah.
I thought they were. I heard something that they
Oh,
were trying to get Mike Myers to come back, but
interesting.
who knows if that'll happen.
Interesting. And again, I'm not entirely up on movies, so yeah, if you've heard stuff, you're probably ahead of me. Like, I mean, I was surprised by Dune coming out. That's how much I wasn't paying attention. Like, so about 2 months ago, from when are you going to go see Dune? It was a bit. Didn't they come out a few years ago? And they're a little bit. There's one coming out this year. Where what?
Yeah.
I
And I
saw
know,
it. I just saw it in IMAX. So good.
yeah, Nick rented the IMAX too for himself and his girlfriend.
Oh wow!
The life of a Dogecoin millionaire, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, life goals.
Ross, I know we talked about Blade Runner a little bit the last time as well. When we talked about 2049, you've seen 2049, yeah? Yeah, I actually really liked it. It actually kind of the follow up sequel, the Blade Runner, exceeded my expectations. I guess I was expecting the sequel to be fairly bastardized, as many times they are in relation to follow ups on legacy movies. But I thought it was really tastefully done. I was a little bit skeptical since Ryan, what's his name, the hunky star, what's his name, Ryan.
Reynolds?
Not Ryan Reynolds, no. The go-to
Gosling.
guy, Ryan Gosling. Yeah, I was a little skeptical when Ryan, but I think he handled himself pretty well. And obviously, having Harrison Ford still play an integral role helped immensely. But
I love the look of those movies. In fact, I think like that is some of the best cinematography I've ever seen, and that's what
Hands
makes
down.
Dune so incredible. However, the pacing of those movies is so god awful; it's almost impossible to watch. And that's what
of
makes
Dune or
no of Blade Runner.
2049.
oh,
Yeah,
I see. I like it. I like the pacing.
Oh, I
I gotta
grew a
disagree with
beard
you.
during that movie.
I gotta disagree with you.
Yeah.
I understand it's a very more of a cerebral experience and it's more slowly laid out. But I've talked about this with Ross last time he's on. I actually like that kind of pacing personally.
But Dune combines the best of both. Like you get the cinematic experience and the pacing is incredible. Dune is just like boom, 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 and it's like it looks so.
I haven't seen it yet, so yeah.
Yeah, go see it on
Yeah.
the IMAX. Trust me.
2049 to me felt a little stretched out.
I could
and
see that.
I kind of wonder if we'll see a slightly recut version. Like I don't think it's way off. And aesthetically amazing. Yeah, very honest to the original. But I did find it slow in a way that bothered me. Whereas Dune was very long, but I didn't find was unduly so. I mean, certainly I do. It does also pain me some of the stuff that like you go in, the movie starts and something explodes, and then it goes from there. I know that's very much the modern style, and I metaphoric about that. I think I did actually see a movie where it was literally credit, the this is your movie kind of thing, and then it's an explosion, and you're a little bit, wow, okay. They're just that's just being silly now. That's my attention span is short, but it's not that bad. And I was seeing. I saw Sapphire and Steel, very very old. I think it's like '60s TV series. I saw it on DVD, and it had some incredibly slow pieces and sections that would not be made today. And it does. There are some very cool things to do. I think the original Blade Runner was actually quite slow if you go back to it, but I think it was just right. And I think 2049 just, I don't know. It's almost the uncanny valley of pacing for me.
Yes, I completely agree. Yeah. Totally agree. And here's the thing: I'll watch that movie, and I love just looking at it is just beautiful. It looks so incredibly good, but I will undoubtedly fall asleep during the film. Like at some point, I will fall asleep. But it looks amazing. It looks so good. I love it. It looks. Oh, it's so the camera work is incredible.
I think the runaway headline with this conversation is Ross Nicoll cites Blade Runner 2049 is the uncanny valley of pacing. I think it's a very apt description. I think it's a very interesting apt description. I think it's fair. But I will say, to go on record, I think I like 2049 probably more than both of you guys. But at the same time, I think the matter of the pacing, and I agree with Russ. I think it's close. I think it's probably a matter of like 10 minutes like a 10-minute shave. You know, about a 10, 15-minute shave off the movie, I think would put it right in the zone there. It's not. I don't think it's far off.
I think it's 10. I think 10 minutes is about right. I think if you say 15, you take too much off. It might even be 8. And that's the thing is, it doesn't feel like completely wrong. It is actually in some ways so close that it's almost weirder. That if it was 15 minutes over, you'd be kind of, okay, it's just so. But it is so close that it feels right, but it doesn't. And I think that's also how it came out the way it did. The other thing, talking about sequels, I saw them making a 4th Matrix. So I was a bit, wow.
Oh, my girlfriend actually got me tickets to the premiere. We're going. It premieres on Christmas Day. So we're going to the premiere.
That is going to be very exciting to see how that comes out. I will wait for reviews.
Yeah, you've seen the trailer for it, yeah?
I haven't.
Oh my god! I'm not gonna lie. It might sound a little whatever in the like.
Oh, I have seen it. It was a while ago. Sorry.
The trailer like made me shed a tear because the Matrix
of the
series
new Matrix?
was like. Yeah, and here's what the Matrix was. I didn't have a dad growing up. A lot of people in the chat know this, but I didn't have a father figure. And my uncle was like, he was working. He worked in computer IT his whole life. That was our he used to take. We saw all the Matrixes when they came out in theaters, and he passed away in 2009. And just seeing that trailer, I was like, oh my god! Like this isn't like. He would have loved to see that.
Awesome.
Wow.
Thank you for sharing that, Nick. 2 more just real quick important questions here, Nick, before we let you go. Cake or pie?
Pie.
That's a good answer.
And there's some many very really good pie places in London. Also plenty how I end up in this shape.
Also what?
Also a little bit how I end up in this shape.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, that'll happen.
Although at least better than the cake.
And the final question for the night: Dogecoin or Sheeb, Ross?
What if he said sheep?
Oh my goodness! I really want to troll you.
If he did say the later, that'd be all over Benzinga and Market Insider tomorrow morning.
Let's go with Dogecoin on account of not wanting to be lynched.
Smart answer.
We love the Doge. We love you, Ross. Thank you for joining us this evening. This was most enjoyable. I hope it was for you as well.
It was fun. Thank you.
Yes, and you always have an open door policy here on this show. And I want to thank everyone for coming out. Really appreciate the support, everyone. And of course, if you're not already subscribed to the channel, make sure you do that before we log out here. I will be coming back on for the regular show in about 2.5 hours, well after Ross will be comatose. So just look for that. Keep your notifications on. I'm going to be putting together the usual news cycle show. That will be on in 2.5 hours from now. We'll be back on. Nick, you're more than welcome, whatever or not, whatever fits. I was
in the emergency room this morning.
I figured.
Try and go to bed early.
I might. Sadaf might come on with me because I was texting with her. Anyway, Ross, thank you so much, man. Really appreciate your time. This is just always a pleasure. Thank you so much, man.
And thank you for having me on stream. It's good being here.
Guys, if you don't already follow Ross on Twitter, he's really easy to find. Just Ross Nicoll.
J. Ross Nicoll. There's an extra.
Okay.
Yeah.
J. Ross Nicoll. Good.
I actually wonder does whoever has Ross Nicoll still out there? Because if they ever, there's some guy, one follower.
Oh God!
Come on.
Just one follower standing in the way.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I wonder. Can you imagine if they ever logs back into Twitter and it's a bit, what just happened? But yeah, no, J. Ross Nicoll. And also, can I just go twitch.tv/rnicoll. I will be streaming live on Sunday.
There you have it. Make sure you're following Ross's Twitch channel. He'll be streaming live on Sunday doing coding stuff, Nick. Ross, sorry.
Yeah.
I was like,
I'm looking at the Hollywood squares up here. Sometimes my brain short circuits. Go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
Okay, very good, very good. Well, thanks everyone. Really, really appreciate everyone coming out. Well, we love Ross. We appreciate Ross. Thank you for everything you've been doing for the community, for Dogecoin over the years. Hugely, hugely appreciated. Big respect to you, my friend. And we will be in touch soon enough. Everyone, thanks for coming out for this edition of Steven Steele Live. This is Steven Steele, Nick, and the legendary Ross Nicoll signing out. Thanks again, guys. Over and out.
Good night. Rushing back.